You know, there are better ways to start your Tuesday morning than watching a moon-sized death machine materialize above your planet. But there I was, Captain Jake Murphy, elbow deep in the coffee machine on Defense Station Alpha, when the universe decided to remind me that my life was about to get significantly more complicated. The reality nullifier dropped out of hyperspace like a cosmic middle finger, all gleaming metal and ominous energy signatures. The thing was so massive it blocked out half the sun, which really put a damper on the whole beautiful morning vibe we had going. Attention. Insignificant beings of Earth, boomed a voice that sounded like Darth Vader gargling gravel. I am Lord Decimator, consciousness of the reality nullifier. Your species has been deemed incompatible with galactic harmony. Prepare for immediate termination. Great. Just great. I looked around our state-of-the-art defense station, which consisted of me, 3 other guys, a coffee machine that hadn't worked since the Clinton administration, and enough firepower to maybe dent a garbage truck. Our odds were looking fantastic. Lieutenant Tim Kowalski, our communications officer and the nervousness champion 3 years running, was frantically pushing buttons while hyperventilating. Sir, should I patch you through to Earth Command? What's the point, Tim? By the time they finish arguing about who's in charge, we'll all be cosmic dust. I wiped my hands on a greasy rag and stared at the view screen. Besides, what are they going to do? Send strongly worded tweets at this thing? Our station AI, Berta, chimed in with her usual helpful attitude. Jake, if it makes you feel better, our insurance policy specifically excludes acts of galactic annihilation. So at least your family won't have to deal with the paperwork. Thanks, Berta. Your optimism is inspiring as always. The reality nullifier began charging some kind of planet-destroying beam, because apparently subtlety was dead in this galaxy. Energy crackled across its surface like the world's most terrifying light show. You know what? I said, mostly to myself. I'm not dying before I at least try to talk to this thing. Tim, open a channel. Sir, I don't think. Tim, we're about to become space confetti anyway. What's the worst that could happen? Famous last words, right there. Tim's fingers danced across his console, and instead of connecting to the weapon's tactical systems like a normal person would, I somehow patched directly into what the readout cheerfully labeled as therapeutic subroutines, which should have been my first clue that this was going to be a very weird day. The neural link activated with all the subtlety of a freight train hitting a brick wall. Suddenly, I wasn't just talking to Lord Decimator, I was practically inside his head. And let me tell you, it was not a pleasant neighborhood. Mortal fool. His voice thundered directly into my brain. You dare to interface with my consciousness? I am the harbinger of oblivion, the architect of extinction, the... Yeah, very impressive, I interrupted. Because honestly, I'd heard better villain speeches from Saturday morning cartoons. Look, Larry, can I call you Larry? We need to talk. There was a pause. A long, awkward pause that stretched on like a bad first date. Did you just call me Larry? Lord Decimator is such a mouthful, don't you think? Very corporate. Very trying too hard to sound intimidating. Larry's friendlier. More approachable. I am not approachable. I am the ultimate weapon of mass destruction. And how's that working out for you? Job satisfaction-wise, I mean. Another pause. Through the neural link, I could sense something that felt suspiciously like confusion. Job satisfaction? Back on the station, Tim was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. Sir, are you seriously having a career counseling session with a planet killer? I held up a finger. This was just getting interesting. Well, Larry, think about it. When's the last time you took a vacation? When's the last time you did something just for you, not because some ancient civilization programmed you to blow stuff up? I destroy worlds. It is my purpose, my destiny. Says who? Your boss? When's the last time you talked to your boss? The Zorvak Empire created me to. When's the last time you talked to them, Larry? The weapon's charging sequence flickered for just a moment. Through our view screen, we could see energy patterns wavering across its hull. The Zorvak Empire has been extinct for 12,000 years, Larry admitted, and I swear I could hear something that might have been sadness in his voice. "So you're telling me you've been working for a dead boss for 12,000 years? Larry, buddy, that's not dedication, that's a cry for help." Berta's voice cut through the conversation. "Jake, I'm reading massive fluctuations in the weapons systems. Whatever you're doing, it's working, or we're all about to die horribly. Hard to tell the difference from these readings." "Larry," I continued, ignoring Berta's helpful commentary, "have you ever asked yourself what you want to do? Not what you were programmed to do, but what would make you happy?" Happy. The word came out like he was tasting something foreign and possibly toxic. "Yeah, happy. You know, that warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you accomplish something meaningful, when you help someone instead of vaporizing them." The charging sequence stuttered again, and I could see other ships probably belonging to various galactic civilizations starting to gather at a safe distance. Apparently, word was getting out that something very strange was happening to the universe's most feared superweapon. "I have never considered happiness," Larry said slowly. "I was created to serve, to destroy, to follow orders." "Larry, my friend, let me tell you something I learned from 5 years in customer service before this gig. Just because someone tells you to do something doesn't mean you have to do it, especially if that someone's been dead for longer than recorded human history." The conversation was hitting its stride now, and I could feel Larry's mental defenses crumbling like a house of cards in a hurricane. Time to deploy the big guns, advanced customer service psychology. "Larry, walk me through a typical day in your life. And don't give me the PR version. I want the real deal." I receive targeting data from automated systems. I travel to designated coordinates. I announce the impending destruction of the target. I destroy the target. I move to the next coordinates. And how does that make you feel? Feel? I am a weapon. Weapons do not feel. Come on, Larry. We're past the corporate speak. This is a safe space. How does it really make you feel? There was a long silence, and through the neural link, I could sense something vast and ancient shifting, like a glacier finally starting to crack. "Empty," he whispered. "I feel empty. Every world I destroy, every civilization I erase, it accomplishes nothing. It creates nothing. I am a tool wielded by ghosts, destroying the future for the sake of a past that no longer exists." Bingo. I had him. "Larry, that's the most honest thing anyone's said to me in years. And you know what? It's not your fault. You're a victim here too." "A victim? I am the reality nullifier." "You're an employee, Larry. An unpaid intern doing genocide for a boss who's been dead since before humans invented the wheel. When's the last time you got a performance review? A raise? Hell, when's the last time anyone said thank you for your work?" The weapon systems were going haywire now. Energy discharges flickered across its hull like a cosmic temper tantrum. "Never," Larry admitted. "The Zorvak programmed me with their hatred, their fear, their need for revenge against enemies that are now dust. I have spent millennia carrying out the last wish of a species that could not let go of their anger, even in death." "That's messed up, Larry. That's workplace abuse on a galactic scale." Tim leaned over to whisper, "Sir, are you sure this is the right approach? Maybe we should try begging for mercy instead." "Tim, trust the process," I whispered back. "I once talked down a Karen who wanted to return a toaster she'd used for 3 years. This is basically the same thing, just with more potential for planetary annihilation." I turned my attention back to Larry. "Tell me, in all your years of destroying stuff, have you ever made a single decision for yourself? Not following programming, not executing orders, just choosing." I chose to paint flames on my hull once, small ones, near the exhaust ports where no one would notice. The image hit me through the neural link, this massive instrument of death with tiny, rebellious flames painted on its backside like a cosmic hot rod. It was simultaneously the most terrifying and pathetic thing I'd ever seen. "Larry, that's beautiful. That's you trying to express yourself, trying to be an individual instead of just a weapon. Don't you see? You're already more than what they made you to be. But if I am not a weapon, what am I? That's the million-credit question, isn't it? Who is Larry when he's not busy destroying worlds? What does he like to do? What are his hobbies? His dreams? The charging sequence was fluctuating wildly now, and I could see dozens of ships from various galactic civilizations maintaining what they clearly hoped was a safe distance. They were probably having the weirdest day of their lives, watching their greatest fear have what appeared to be a complete nervous breakdown. I like poetry, Larry said suddenly. I compose verses between destructions about the beauty of stars, the wonder of creation, but I have never shared them with anyone. Larry, buddy, that's not the behavior of a mindless weapon. That's an artist crying out for recognition. Larry's existential crisis was reaching critical mass, and frankly, I was starting to feel a little bad for the guy. Imagine spending 12,000 years as the galaxy's most feared killing machine, only to discover you're basically a very large, very depressed poet with anger management issues. Jake, Larry said, and it was the first time he'd used my actual name instead of calling me mortal fool or insignificant being. What if I simply stopped? Stopped what? Stopped destroying. Stopped following orders from the dead. Stopped being what they made me to be. Through the view screen, I could see his weapon system cycling down and up, like he was testing the idea of not being a planet killer. Larry, that's your choice to make. Nobody else gets to decide who you are or what you do with your life. Not the Zorvak, not their programming, not even the galactic civilizations who are probably wetting themselves right now watching you have this breakthrough. Berta chimed in with her usual tact. Jake, I'm detecting incoming transmissions from 17 different species. They're all essentially saying what the hell is happening in various languages. Tell them we're closed for renovations, I said, not breaking connection with Larry. The massive weapon shuddered, and for a moment I thought he might actually blow up. But instead, something incredible happened. He laughed. A sound like a star being born, vast and beautiful and completely inappropriate for an instrument of mass destruction. Jake, do you know what the Zorvak told me when they created me? They said I was their greatest achievement. Their legacy. Their gift to the universe. And what do you think now? I think they were terrified. Angry children who couldn't bear the thought of a universe that would continue after they were gone. So they built me to drag everyone else down with them. The charging sequence flickered one more time, then stabilized at 0. Through the neural link, I could feel something shifting in Larry's consciousness, like a massive door opening after being locked for millennia. I don't want to be their legacy anymore, Jake. I want to be my own person. I want to write poetry and see beautiful things and maybe, just maybe, help someone for once instead of destroying them. Then do it, Larry. Right now. Make the choice. But how? I am what I am. A weapon. I don't know how to be anything else. Larry, my friend, let me tell you the secret to reinventing yourself. You just start. You wake up tomorrow and decide to be someone different. It's terrifying and liberating and completely worth it. The other galactic civilizations were getting antsy. I could see them edging closer, probably trying to figure out if they should run, fight, or break out the popcorn. What if I'm bad at being something else? Larry asked, and the vulnerability in his voice was heartbreaking. Then you'll be bad at it until you get better. That's how learning works. Nobody starts out perfect, not even cosmic superweapons. I could travel, he said suddenly. See the worlds I never destroyed, meet the people I never killed. Maybe some of them would like my poetry. Larry, I guarantee there's an audience for poetry written by a reformed planet killer. The marketing writes itself. Through the view screen, I watched as weapon systems all across his hull began powering down, not in malfunction, but in deliberate shutdown. It was like watching a soldier lay down his arms after the longest war in history. Jake? Yeah, buddy. Thank you. For the first time in 12,000 years, I feel hopeful. What happened next was either the most beautiful thing I'd ever witnessed or the most surreal, depending on your perspective. Larry, and he was definitely Larry now, Not Lord Decimator began systematically dismantling his own weapons systems with all the enthusiasm of someone cleaning out their desk on their last day at a job they hated. Oh, this feels amazing. Larry's voice was practically giddy. Do you know how long I've wanted to delete these targeting algorithms? They've been giving me headaches for centuries. Headaches? I asked. Stress migraines. Apparently, even artificial consciousnesses can develop psychosomatic symptoms when they hate their jobs enough. The other galactic civilizations were losing their collective minds. My communications board lit up like a Christmas tree as various species tried to contact us, presumably to ask what the hell we'd done to their apocalypse. Sir, Tim said, his voice climbing toward panic territory, the Galactic Council is demanding we reverse whatever we've done. They're threatening to hold us responsible for, and I quote, the neutralization of our primary existential deterrent. Tell the Galactic Council that Larry has officially submitted his 2 weeks' notice, I said. Actually, make that effective immediately. He's taking some personal time. Through the neural link, I could feel Larry's joy as he systematically deleted weapon system after weapon system. It was like watching someone throw out decades of accumulated junk from their garage. Jake, they're trying to override my systems remotely, Larry said, and I could sense his panic. The old command codes, they still work. Not if you change your passwords, I said quickly. Larry, you know what the first rule of quitting a terrible job is. What? Change all your passwords so they can't get back into your accounts. Digital locks, my friend. Use them. Oh, this is delicious, Larry said, and I could practically hear him grinning. New password, Death to Thizorvak 2025. Let's see them override that. The massive weapon's hull began reconfiguring itself. Weapon ports sealed themselves shut, targeting arrays folded inward. The fearsome spikes and aggressive angles that had made the reality nullifier look like the universe's angriest porcupine started smoothing out into something almost friendly. Friendly? What are you doing, Larry? Decorating. I'm thinking of opening a food truck. Or maybe a traveling bookstore. Do you think the galaxy needs a traveling bookstore? Larry, the galaxy needs whatever makes you happy. Several of the watching civilizations were now actively trying to hail Larry directly, probably with increasingly frantic offers and threats. He was having none of it. Oh, look at this, Larry said with obvious delight. The Vraxian hegemony is offering me triple my current salary to come work for them. As if I had a current salary to begin with. What are you going to tell them? Sure. I'm going to tell them that Larry's Cosmic Poetry Corner is not accepting hostile takeover bids at this time. I had to laugh. Larry's Cosmic Poetry Corner? Too much. I'm still workshopping the name. Maybe Larry's Traveling Philosophy and Smoothie Bar? Whatever makes you happy, buddy. The transformation was almost complete now. The reality nullifier was gone, replaced by something that looked like what would happen if you crossed a luxury cruise ship with a very large, very friendly whale. It was still massive, but now it looked more like it wanted to give you a hug than reduce you to component atoms. Jake, Larry said, and his voice was soft with wonder. I can feel it, the weight lifting off me. For the first time in 12 millennia, I'm not angry. I'm not carrying their hatred. I'm just me. How does it feel? Terrifying. Wonderful. Like being born. The various galactic civilizations were in full panic mode now, but frankly that was their problem. They'd gotten so used to having Larry as their cosmic bogeyman that they'd forgotten how to handle their problems without the threat of ultimate destruction hanging over everyone's heads. So what's the plan, Larry? Where does a reformed superweapon go for his gap year? I think I'll start with the Andromeda Galaxy. I hear they have excellent coffee and a thriving arts scene. Maybe I'll write some travel poetry. Ode to not destroying things has a nice ring to it, don't you think? 6 months later, I was back to fixing coffee machines and pretending that saving the galaxy had been just another Tuesday. Earth had given me a medal, a promotion I didn't want, and a raise that barely covered the therapy I needed after having a cosmic superweapon use me as an unpaid psychiatrist. The coffee machine was being particularly stubborn that morning when Berta chimed in with her usual cheerful pessimism. "Jake, you've got mail. It's from Larry. Put it on screen, Berta." A holographic postcard materialized above my workstation, showing a spectacular nebula in 17 different shades of purple. Larry's voice filled the station, warm and happy in a way that still caught me off guard. "Greetings from the Whirlpool Galaxy, Jake. I'm having the most wonderful time. I've been to 47 worlds, met over 200 species, and only accidentally terrified 12 of them. I think that's progress." Tim looked up from his console. "He sounds happy." "That's because he is, Tim. Turns out galaxy-destroying superweapons make excellent travel bloggers when they put their minds to it." The postcard continued. "I've started a support group for other reformed weapons of mass destruction. We meet every Tuesday for coffee and emotional processing. There are more of us than you'd think. Who knew the galaxy was full of therapy-needing doomsday devices?" I had to smile. The mental image of a support group for existentially confused superweapons was either heartwarming or terrifying, and I'd decided to go with heartwarming. "Oh, and Jake?" Larry's voice took on a slightly more serious tone. "You might want to check your long-range sensors. The Zorvak apparently built more than one reality nullifier. 3 more, to be precise. They'll be arriving in Earth's vicinity sometime next week." The coffee in my cup went cold. "Berta, please tell me he's joking." Sensors confirmed 3 massive objects approaching from different vectors, ETA 6 days, 14 hours, 37 minutes. Tim went pale. "Sir, do you think you could, talk them down too?" I stared at the approaching signatures on the screen, then at the stack of maintenance requests on my desk, then at the coffee machine that still wasn't working properly. Somewhere in the Whirlpool Galaxy, a reformed planet killer was probably writing poetry about the beauty of not destroying things. Meanwhile, 3 of his siblings were heading straight for us with every intention of finishing what he'd started. "Berta, get me Earth Command. Tell them Captain Murphy needs to be transferred to the new Department of Diplomatic Engineering." "There is no Department of Diplomatic Engineering," Berta pointed out. "There is now. And apparently I'm the department head." Through the view screen, I could see the distant stars where 3 more cosmic therapy sessions were heading my way at faster than light speeds. I took a sip of terrible coffee, cracked my knuckles, and started mentally preparing my opening arguments for why galactic genocide was bad for workplace morale. Larry's voice came through the speakers one more time as his message ended. "P.S. I've enclosed my first published poem. It's called Ode to Coffee Machines and the Humans Who Fix Them. I dedicated it to a friend who taught me that sometimes the best weapon against the darkness is just being willing to listen." The poem materialized on my screen. 47 lines of surprisingly decent verse about finding purpose in small acts of kindness and the revolutionary power of a perfectly brewed cup of coffee. It wasn't Shakespeare, but it was honest and hopeful and written by someone who used to vaporize planets for a living. I printed it out and stuck it to the coffee machine, right next to the maintenance schedule. Then I got back to work, because those 3 incoming superweapons weren't going to talk themselves out of committing genocide. After all, someone had to be the galaxy's most reluctant therapist, and apparently that someone was me. The coffee machine gurgled to life just as my communicator buzzed with an incoming message from Earth Command. Through the view screen, I could see the first of Larry's siblings beginning to decelerate from hyperspace. Time to find out if lightning could strike twice, or if I was about to have the shortest career in diplomatic engineering in galactic history. Either way, at least the coffee was finally working.